Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Today we shall center in on Talia, who is, at least currently, probably taking shelter in Lucas's cabin among the stargazers. Regardless of whatever she happens to be up to, she will be greeted, probably not by a knock at the door, because, it's Lucas's place. He just kind of walks in whenever. And Maeve shall enter as well. Or first, I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But all the same, puppy shenanigans are clearly in our future.
Absolutely. Lucas looks at the screen door in the front of his cabin, really thinks hard to himself about replacing it with a bead curtain, but then remembers it's not quite the season for that. And he pretty much goes and walks into the living quarters where all the bean bags are set up. No real cot, no real mattress here. Just very much laid back. And that's a very plush rug, at least, that you can probably snuggle in if you're in Lupus form. But where do we find Talia? How has she been sleeping?
Not so much sleeping. Sleeping hasn't necessarily been particularly easy. She's still a little bit weirded out, but she's, probably curled up, sort of on one of the beanbags, sort of a bit lost in thought.
Lucas is going to go ahead and walk on over to an accompanying beanbag and go ahead and plop his happy ass down. Plop.
And almost immediately behind him, Maeve is going to poke her head in as well and grin. She's probably come by at least once today to make sure that Talia had something to eat, check to see whether she was really keen on going out and meeting people, and all things considered, she may very well not have been, which would explain why she was still here. So it is time to poke back in and bring her company, whether she wants it or not. So Maeve will come in and kind of just collapse cross-legged onto the floor, just zoom, fold herself down right in front of Talia and go, "Hey, you ready to come out?"
Not sure about ready. She does perk up at the sight of Maeve. She's probably one of the few bright spots in this whole experience so far. She will say, not sure I'm ready, but I'm not sure I can face being inside these four walls anymore either.
Good. Lucas and I have a lot of fun. Won't let anything too crazy happen.
Lucas looks slightly wounded at the fact that these four walls are being called these four walls. He spent a lot of time on this cabin. But he go ahead and looks to Maeve and looks to Talia. Yeah, lots of fun.
And she'll look at Lucas and go, "Northwoods?"
Totally.
Yes! Come on! And she'll quickly shuffle to her feet and hold a hand out.
Talia will take a deep breath and then grab her hand.
Lucas is already rushing out the door at top speed.
Motherfucker! So Maeve will help her with a tug to her feet and go, come on, he's hard to keep up with. And, even if she still has her hand, we'll start bolting after Lucas, because playing keep up with Lucas is reasonably difficult.
Running.
It's got to be at least a little difficult to stay worried, to stay paranoid when you have two idiots snickering and bolting across the grass, dragging you by the hand and having a good old time.
Just
so
being
hopefully
outside probably improves her mood somewhat. Outside is good.
And while the park is probably still somewhat in full swing, and there's cops here and there, it doesn't seem to dampen them at all, considering that, well, they're just 3 more people in the park. And so they'll run along through public areas, through warded areas, and eventually they will come to the more heavily wooded North Woods.
Lucas, for his part, is finally going to go ahead and settle right outside of the training ground and start to walk around.
And Maeve will catch up, kind of pause to catch her breath and glance around. Kind of look over at Talia.
Talia will be looking around and be like, so what do you guys do here? I mean, this is a park. people come and visit, but surely you can't be here all the time.
Well, I mean, I usually stay on Sept, but there's a lot of places in the park that normal people just can't stumble into. They can't really go to, like the cabins.
Like the carousel.
How?
And like these training grounds, the North Woods are one of the best places to run around and not get spotted. Super fun.
Hmm.
Is there anything I can climb?
There's trees for days. And I
Days
bet you
and
there's, she'll
days.
look around, there's undoubtedly obstacles and stuff in the training grounds.
Obstacle course, right there. Rock climbing, right there. Rope climbing, right there.
Well, I suppose at least if I can't figure this all out in my head, maybe we can blow off some steam and like not think keep my if my muscles are busy, my brain can't do too much.
Yep. There's a lot of stuff to do here. Like, regardless of what kind of person you are. I mean, I recently have been spending a lot of time at the library in the castle. So there's everything here.
Training grounds. There's wonderful red bones over there. There's the conservatory. Well, there is chessboards down there, but I can never win any one game. There's always this one Russian guy that goes ahead and chews my ear off in a language I can't quite understand, but seems like a mixture of broken English and
Never been able
Romanian.
to sit still long enough for chess. My sister likes it, always seemed too many rules, too fussy for me.
Yeah, chess is one of those games that I've learned it sort of. Like, I know how the pieces move, but I could never beat my dad. So, but we do have better games to play. And how about this? I'm sure you have questions about different things. We can answer whatever you ask, but got a condition. And she will take her time for a second or two. Doesn't take overly long, but with a little thought, she slowly goes through the transition until there is a little kind of coppery wolf perched in front of you.
So we can be normal looking wolves, we don't just have to be that.
Oh yeah, no, there's 5 shapes that you can take. There's the one you're in now, and then I mean you know about the big snarly war thing. There's also one in between that looks kind of like you imagined werewolves looked in the old horror movies, like when they get really big and muscly and they put some extra hair on, but they're kind of people-y still.
There's the Wolfman. I like the Wolfman.
Yep, there's the Wolfman. And then there's this one, but there's also another one in between this and the war form that's like a dire wolf. It's super huge, super big. Like, it leaves me looking puppy-sized by comparison in this shape.
Okay.
And that one's on all 4s. So, one of the things that's maybe should be explained, I know you got stuck yesterday and that was scary, but one of the best ways to avoid that is that when you take your time with almost anything, it's a lot easier. It's a lot simpler to just go through it instead of trying to push and force yourself into it. So you can take your time stepping between the worlds. You can also take your time doing this. So don't stress it, but it's good for you to get used to having 4 feet anyways. So we'll play tag and we'll answer your questions, but first you gotta get here. And then she sits.
So, but is there any risk of me getting stuck in that place again to doing this?
It can't. Getting stuck can
Here-
happen.
Okay. Here's the thing. I've been doing this whole gauntlet traveling thing for a while now. There's a reason they call it the gauntlet, and you experienced that the other day. It's very, very hard because the worlds are just so totally separated and separated by all those webs. You gotta basically run through it. And the only way you can run through it is to go ahead and slip sideways. It's so hard to just simply let yourself go, let your physical form become more spiritual. We are things of flesh and we are things of spirit. And the main trial of the gauntlet is to both slip between the worlds and to make yourself spiritual rather than material.
That was
If
a
it
lot of
helps.
words.
If it helps, it's not common for people to get stuck. I've been here a little while now, and in the months I've been here, I've never seen that happen. So honestly, I think that was bad luck and you being under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. If you take your time, if you just kind of slide through the curtain, it's not as hard. And you don't get stuck like that.
You can
It's
also
only when you're
use
rushing then I think you get stuck.
You can also use different focuses. Like, have you ever stared at yourself in a mirror before?
Well, what do you mean? Like looking at it or like staring? I don't tend to stare myself down.
Oh, that's kind of the thing. If you look at your reflection, more importantly, if you look into your eyes of reflection, then it becomes just phenomenally easier.
Yep. We can get you a compact like we have. I have one of those little mirror compacts that almost every girl has in their makeup. It just has a mirror on both sides, but it makes it a lot easier to get across.
I suppose if you say that makes it easier, then Maeve made it look so easy, so she'll think that she'll give it a try. She's not 100% convinced, but
Well, right now, just work on getting like this. I'll have another set of clothes for you that I can go get until we get you a pair of your own that are dedicated. Just
You
stay in Wolf for
can,
now.
you can pretty much take one of the cubbies of the training ground.
Oh, well, that's a good idea, too.
Yeah! I have several pairs of clothes. I have one pair at the recreational center.
Look at you and your being smart and stuff.
no
Yeah.
You
more
just
of
had to run
these
around
have
without
My
a
Little
shirt for a
Ponies
day.
on, right?
Huh?
I said no more of these have My Little Ponies on, right?
No, no more My Little
No,
Ponies at the
no,
moment.
no, no. That's just for the loners.
Okay.
He has this really, really stupid grin that's going over his face. What? We don't believe that friendship is magic?
Noddle, noddle. You should have seen the sheets he got me when I got my bed.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that where it is, and maybe we should. If I'm gonna try this, let's try this.
Yep,
All
and
right.
she'll point her nose over to whatever little changing area there is, so that if she wants to leave the clothes in a cubby so they don't get destroyed, she can do that.
Yeah,
It's
she'll go do that.
it's the same sort of thing. Just take your time. You are just like you are human and you are spirit. Now you are human and you are wolf. And since you've been in one of the forms already, just remember that there is a wolf side of you and think about it and concentrate on it and just work your way to it. Don't press it, don't force it, just remember that you are a wolf.
She's gonna take a big breath, and she's gonna give it a go. She doesn't know what a wolf really meant to feel like, but yeah.
And presuming you want to take your time instead of rolling, you can just
Yeah.
take your time and have her kind of slowly feel her way through it and eventually end up in her wolf shape.
Yeah.
Whatever that happens to look like.
Sorry?
I said, whatever that wolf shape happens to look like.
Woof.
And when she reemerges on all fours, Maeve and Lucas are undoubtedly just sitting there. Well, maybe not just sitting there, but they're out there waiting.
Stalking their prey.
She'll probably
Shove, shove.
try and
Shuffle, shuffle.
look towards you and be a little bit confused, but actually, this is it's like this is better than the other one.
She'll bob her muzzle. Yep.
Yeah, I don't like the the war form myself. This one is a lot more light, a lot more flexible, a lot more, and he's just gonna go ahead and bolt.
You bastard! Come on, catch him, catch him, catch him, catch him!
Running!
Running. Disappears into the underbrush. Literally disappears into the underbrush.
And I have to AFK for just a second, but assume that Maeve is playing chase and running along like an idiot with her tongue lolling out of her face.
Yeah, Talia's gonna get quite into this and get actually quite competitive, and she is pretty determined to try and get catch Lucas.
Oh, and it's quite a challenge, actually, because when I said disappear, I meant literally disappear. Maeve, for her part, is hanging out with her tongue all lolled. She's running. She's got her, nose to the ground, trying to sniff. Probably got a lot of frustration on her face at the moment.
Yeah. She's gonna keep trying to chase you, and getting, more and more frustrated.
Alright. Let's see. How best to describe this? We're going to go a little bit narrative at the moment. What's your perception alertness? Or your perception primal urge?
Perception 3. Which one do you want?
Whichever one is higher at the moment.
Perception primal urge.
Okay. Let's see. Now, you're used to the Hamid perception. You're used to a human perception. Now that you're in the wolf form, now that you're in lupus form, your perceptions are different. They're changed. You can feel the slight vibrations of the wind in your ears, actually, the very, very tips of it. You can hear far, far beyond what you would normally hear. You pick up with clarity the different twigs that snap, the leaves that fall to the ground. You can literally hear as one of the trees goes ahead and atrophies and breaks one of its larger limbs and falls to the ground in a great big crash. Your eyes are now, well, you don't see too much in color. You do see in color. It is daylight, so that is a big boon, but there's a whole lot of contrast that goes along with it. You see the immediate surroundings rather than far, far off. Doesn't mean you can't, but it means your attention is focused here in the now and what is in front of you. Your legs are sprinting. They're all acting at once. They're all running at once. You feel that you're flying more than running. And your nose, oh dear Lord, your nose is full of all types of scents that you didn't smell before. You smell yourself. You smell me over there. You smell... You smell perspiration. You smell the pine. You smell... well, different animals, small little creatures that are just beneath your notice, but you can pinpoint them. You can pinpoint most of them, in fact. But there's just no Lucas. Lucas seems to have just utterly and intolerably just disappeared.
He's cheating. Maeve will finally slow her roll and start sticking her nose on the ground and snuffling around.
Talia will reluctantly slow down because she was enjoying the running, and go over to Maeve. What are you doing?
I'm looking for him.
But where's he gone? He just seemed to vanish.
He's probably cheating. I mean, he's good at hiding already, but he's probably cheating. We can do all sorts of weird stuff. I can talk to spirits. I mean, apparently for some people it's not that easy, but I just understand them. Lucas can disappear. Some of us can sense when there's... some people can sense if you're kin, if you have the blood of werewolves of Garu and aren't a Garu yourself. Some people can sense if you are Garu. We can do a lot of weird things because being half spirit, the spirits allow us to do all sorts of stuff.
I'm gonna put this in the pile of more weird shit.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. But Lucas is doing weird shit and disappearing. And she'll continue to snuff around and see if she can pick up his scent.
You're familiar with his scent. Oh, we're gonna roll for this? Oh, okay.
I mean, either way.
No, if we're gonna roll with this, because somebody gave me a new gift today. I'm gonna roll this. Okay, increase the difficulty by 3. You're in Lupus, so it gets downgraded to 2. You're at difficulty 7.
Don't we also... Do we get a -1 from Great White Mouse for scenting? I can't remember. Or for tracking or something? Or is that just for sneaking?
Just for sneaky.
Okay.
So, you're at diff 7. I'm at diff 5. I have a ridiculous dice pool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Damn it. 1, 2, only 3. Oh wait, 2, because it's diff 7.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we give Tylani a try?
Mm-hmm. And Maeve will point her nose to the dirt and be like, most of people's scents cling to the ground. If you stick your nose in the air, you're usually not going to catch it. So I know it seems weird, but you put your nose down to the dirt and you start waffling around, and yeah, you'll smell the dirt and you'll smell the leaves, but you'll also smell the people who have come through. So let your instincts have a little bit of that. They should kind of ping, and it's hard to listen to them at first, but you'll be able to listen to them and just give a waff around. And it is, I believe, Perception Survival or Perception Primal Urge, depending on which one you want to use.
Mm-hmm.
Perception Survival, I can go with that.
Cool.
Okay. So roll that many dice, and your difficulty is 7. So 1, 2, well, 2. 1, because you got a 1.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we find ourselves, like, running and spinning in circles, actually. For about a minute or two.
And Maeve will continue to trot around stubbornly sniffing and then look at Talia and kind of do the big, it's like the domestic dog smile, like, where they gape their mouth open and they kind of just have this goofy look about them. And she's like, I vote we leave him in the dust. Come on.
Yeah, she's up for if he's going to play silly tricks, let's go for it.
And she will just take off through the underbrush again, running along, tongue lolling.
Run. Dash. Dash, dash.
Can they hear him, like, stumbling through the brush or anything to keep up?
Oh, yes. Yes, they do hear him. Dash. Dash,
Yep.
dash.
She'll,
Dash,
like,
dash.
glance over her shoulder a couple times. She'll be like, yep, he's cheating. Oh, I can hear him, but I can't see him.
Dash, 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 dash. Dash, 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 dash. Maeve, you are tackled by a brown wolf.
Tackle, tumble, legs flail everywhere.
Yay!
Dunk, 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 dunk. Oh, God! Why? Flail, flail, flail.
Kick, 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 as Lucas is on his back right now and sort of rolls on over. Goes ahead and shoves his muzzle into Maeve's neck.
She'll
Flicking
gnaw
ear,
on his
flick
ear.
ear, flick
Talia's
ear.
probably like, she's going to actually like be like, well, this looks like fun, and actually just probably die, probably trying to hit Lucas.
Dive into the middle.
Oh yeah, you totally can. You want to bounce on him?
Sounds good.
You want to roll Dex Sprawl to see how well you do?
Okay.
Lucas is totally not expecting it, so have free reign.
Oh, where is my one?
1 success, so at least you
Yeah.
hit.
Oh, blah.
She lands in the right place.
You go ahead and lunge. You go ahead and push Lucas off Maeve for a hot second. Gets ahead and turns around at you. Oh, you want to play that game?
Scuffle, scuffle, scuffle. Rolls around, starts gnawing on his ear again. Arr, 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 arr.
Arr, 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 arr. Okay, he's gonna go ahead and look at Talia. Chicken. He's gonna dash off to one side of the clearing. Look at you. Chicken.
She is going after you. There is no doubt about this. She is not being called a chicken.
Scuffle, scuffle. Run, back up on feet, scamper.
Oh, this is chicken. Chicken is basically where these two wolves are just gonna run at each other full tilt.
Yep, that's fine.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah, roll. If you want to hit, roll Dex Brawl. If you want to avoid, Dex Athletics.
I missed it.
Giving you the option because this is chicken.
I realized you missed the dice last time, so...
I can totally see her just putting her head down and careening for you.
Yeah, she's charging.
1, 2, 2.
I think you got him.
Yeah.
So, while these two Lupuses go ahead and pounce and crash into each other, it is Tylani that is the one that's able to put Lucas on his back.
I think it's Talia?
Dahlia.
Talia, excuse me.
See you getting excited over there.
It's okay, describe what you do.
She's gonna probably, grab hold of him and just... Not really meanfully, but she's definitely gonna try and... grab hold of probably the bit she can get hold of and probably just be growling, but like kind of friendly and light, but yeah.
Alright, more play.
Play fighting.
Lucas is going to try to weasel out of this by kicking at you. Alright then. Looks at you. Big. If a wolf could. Actually, a wolf. His tail raises. That is how Lupus express, happiness. I have to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
His tail goes ahead and raises up. And he sort of is going to go ahead and back up just a little second. Next time. Next hit. You're not going to see it. And dash into the underbrush.
She shakes her head and goes, go for it.
Alright. Blur, first off. 1, 2, 3. So, +1 difficulty. That is the net for 1 being Lupus and 2 the blur effect. So, roll your perception alertness. I'll roll my stealth. If I get more successes, I surprise you.
Cool.
Dope. Helps if I'm using the right dice.
Yee.
Oh my god. You're ludicrous.
Oh, yeah.
Botch.
Yeah. She totally...
He's gone like magic.
She pretty much thinks you just teleport back in.
What happens is you're just like you're distracted by Maeve for a second, who is doing something interesting for one reason or another.
She's always doing something interesting. Gosh.
Oh, what an interesting cricket!
She's peering around trying to find him herself, and probably has like her attention locked on a squirrel or something. And so she's like, "Oh, clearly he's over there," and looks that way.
Talia follows her. Clearly Maeve knows something she doesn't.
Clearly, and they're looking
Okay.
the opposite of where Lucas is.
Time for the pounce. That's 8 plus 4. It's 12. Don't you love ambushes? Pounce! Oh my god. I will never roll like this ever again.
I'm sorry.
It's every time we do a play scene, our dice are so good. And then serious shit goes down, we're like, here's all my ones that I've been saving up.
Yep.
From out of the underbrush comes this brown wolf that just goes ahead and tackles Tailani, and now Tailani is the one on her back. Ha ha!
She, yeah, gonna be held down, but she's gonna freak out. She does not really like being held in one place.
Oh crap!
Tackle.
What's the moon? What's the moon?
The moon right now, I think, is practically gone. Let me double check.
Yeah, I
real
think we're
fast.
okay.
It is crescent.
Okay. Do we think that's enough justification for a rage roll?
I guess, dude, if it's the kind of thing that really freaks her out, like on a primal level, freaks her out, yeah.
I think just because she probably doesn't like being like controlled anyway, but the bigger point would be that just thinking of like last night and being held in place, her abiding memory of being stuck between the places is being held in place.
Alright then.
Oh. Fortunately, she does not currently have that much rage.
Alright then.
That still doesn't matter, apparently.
2 successes, that's not enough to frenzy. But that is enough to really set you off.
And about time she starts looking frantic or panicked, the body language shifts to where she's no longer happily has her ears perked and her tail flagged up. Maeve's gonna intervene with a tackle.
Yeah, she's got all of her hairs are standing on end, and she's like gone probably first very still, and then is about to start thrashing.
Okay.
Tackle to Lucas! Tackle him off! Tackle him off!
Lucas is tackled off.
She won't go for a pin or anything, just dunk! And then keep trotting and kind of circle back around to see how Talia is doing.
Talia will just get up, like, doesn't say not. Is just gonna get up and try and like back away and like, yeah, try and keep her distance. Her ears are probably down at this point. She's not happy.
Lucas is gonna go ahead and put his belly to the ground. Sorry.
Maeve, meanwhile, gives herself like a full body shake. Probably something that just looks kind of silly. Again, weird body behavior just to kind of startle her into being in a better mood, hopefully. Just blah, blah, blah.
She sort of is distracted somewhat by Maeve's weird body actions, and she's like, well, she's a little bit embarrassed, shakes her head and is like, it's okay, just, yeah, maybe don't. It reminded me of being in that place. Being held is not a good thing right now.
I apologize.
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, Lucas and I don't have much of a temper, as Garu go, but if you're a full moon, you will have a lot of one.
Let me ask you this. Did you feel what was going on inside you?
Some of it, yeah.
Okay. That's a good and a bad thing. You're a full moon, so this is going to be something that you're going to have to manage. Whenever you start feeling like that, there's a very good chance that you might fly off the handle and do something that you regret. So, my best advice is to go ahead and, when it's not necessary, when you're like out in the middle of the sept, or you're out with friends or anybody that you care about, clamp down hard on that. There's a place for that, and you're not ready to go to that place.
Head Bob. You're one of Gaia's warriors. That anger and that rage is to fuel you when you fight. And it's hard to control it the rest of the time, but we'll learn.
I hope so. That the feelings I feel are, well, probably terrifying. I'd probably say they're a bit scary. I don't know whether they're more scary because of how out of control I feel, or more scary because it's also kind of exciting.
She rolls her shoulders in some equivalence of a shrug. It's part of being what we are, and as hard as it is to say it and mean it, sometimes it helps to remember that to a normal person, we are essentially monsters, and that's one of the things that makes us more like a monster. It's one of the things you have to learn to control. But you shouldn't be in any bad spots where that becomes a problem, I hope. Not for a while. Not until you've had some more training.
Do yourself a favor. Next time you're out in public, take one of the people or one of the kin with you that you trust, because as much as you can feel that anger and that rage inside you, everybody else in the world can as well, and they will start to avoid you naturally.
You should see Olaf try to get coffee.
Hilarious. Mm-hmm.
So does that... So if I have to... At some point I get to leave, but I still have to have someone with me.
It's a good idea, honestly. Even if it's, well, I mean, I'm probably not a good choice because I'm still a cub myself, but it's a good idea to have someone you trust and take them places with you, just because, A, you could lose your shit and they're there to put it down if you do, and B, like we said, we're not the only monsters out there. There's a lot of other kinds of monster, and when you're just people, you can't sense them, but when we're what we are...
Scarier than we are? Did
Well,
monsters
they're different kinds of
scarier
scary.
than that big rage thing?
They're their own kind of scary. There's different kinds. I mean, they told me there are actually fairies. Like, the fae are real things, and they're not so scary, but I imagine they can do things to people. They can do things to us. There are other monsters out there, too. Like, all those old horror movies you watched, it seems like almost anything I can imagine is actually out there. So we have to be careful, because even if we, like, being young, can't sense them, they can probably sense us, and they might fuck with us.
Mm-hmm.
And with us being little still, and still learning how to do what we do, they could get away with it, and we could get hurt, or we could get taken away, or we could get killed. Besides, Olaf's pretty nice. He's the one who went everywhere with me when I wanted to leave the Sept. Wanted to leave the park.
Did it not make you feel like you're like some little child again?
She kind of shrugs, and the way I was raised, I mean, I lived on a farm, and we didn't go into town very often, and when we did, well, my dad drove the truck to go get things for the farm, and he'd take me to whatever shops I wanted to go to, but it's kind of what I'm used to, so I didn't think much of it. Now, Lucas over there points her nose at him. He's less into the whole having people with him thing, and I understand, but when it comes down to the fact that the first 2 times I left this place, I went out, even with someone with me, to go just get a cup of coffee, both times we ran into things that were scarier than us, that were bigger than us, and if I hadn't had them with me, it could have gone really bad. I didn't even know at the time. It's only because the people with me were able to find out that something was off about the people that were around us.
Your nose will know.
Nod, nod.
Trust your nose. Trust that primal instinct, that primal urge inside you. It'll tell you things.
I can believe that. It's just I've spent so much time not being to working to not be at home and anymore. I just don't want to.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, like your day and/or your work, your family.
Yeah. She pops down on her rear and kind of scratches at her ruff where she got play gnawed. Scruff, 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 scruff.
Sit on the ground.
I'm not the most interesting person. I have a sister who's probably the biggest pain in my ass. Actually, no, that would be my mother. But my sister lives in New York. Actually, she worries she's one of those, she wants to achieve things, wants to do things, and kind of objects to the fact that I don't. But yeah, she explains that I spend most of my time, since I said I could leave home, I did. My mother is cycling. But I I don't normally live in New York. It's just it's winter and jobs doing what I do don't really appear in winter.
What do you do?
Uh, Waitress.
Currently, yeah, that my sister helped me get that. It sucks.
Oh yeah, you have to deal with jackasses all day.
Yeah.
You know what? Your sister just sounds a little bit like my brother, actually. He's a little bit of an overachiever. He's got big plans, big ideas, and he's gonna be going places. And they always look down on me because I couldn't get my shit together. And, well, then this happens. Big stupid grin. If you could imagine a wolf to be grinning.
And this improved things how?
Uh, Sort of like scratches his head a little bit. Well, he's still going to be going places, but I know where I am in life now. Always been a bit of the question, what would happen to me? And, well, I got blessed by Gaia once with a bit of gnosis when I was still kin. And I got blessed again when she finally decided, hey, I need you to shape change. So I'm doubly blessed.
So you were both kin before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, only can, as far as I know, become Garu. People who have the blood in them, even if it hasn't manifested yet. I used to tell Lucas, back when he was kin, that the only difference between us is that I'd had a change and he hadn't. Now, the other thing is that, I mean, Lucas knew before he became a Garu about us and about the people. He knows a lot more now than I do, even having been here for, what, like 2 months now?
What are you talking about? Nearly an entire year I've been here.
Well, that's the thing. You've been here like a year, and you've known about the Garu for a long, long time. And I mean, I didn't know anything until I changed, so
Oh yeah, for you it would be about 2 months.
Yeah, I was very much in the knowing nothing camp.
yep.
But that just means you get to open yourself up to a brand new adventure every single day.
Grin.
You
It's
are
not that bad, I
terrifyingly
promise.
optimistic.
And even being stuck here, I mean, the park's huge. There's a lot to do here. There's a lot of places to see. There's a lot of stuff you can do on your own as long as you're in the park. If you want to wander around, if you want to go to play basketball or come here and train or whatever you want, you can. It's safe. It's just make sure that if you're going to change shapes or if you're going to step into the spirit world, that you're in one of the places that people can't walk into. You're at one of the places where everyone around you is Garu or kin. Because it kind of wigs them out when you turn into a giant snarly war beast or you change into a wolf or you just disappear. So
Yeah,
that's the only thing to keep in mind.
How does anybody work or does anyone have jobs? I mean, how do you guys get money, do anything if you have...
oh,
Expectant look at
You- you-
Lucas.
well, yeah, you guys are worried about the economy of the park, how it sustains ourselves, and how we maintain security and secrecy?
Sure, I
Well,
was
that and
going
how we
more for
have
a
the funds for
personal level.
anything.
Like, how does anyone... I've say I left home, I've paid my way, I don't want to owe anything to anyone.
Oh, you're not going to owe anybody anything. You're Garu now. You're part of the family. But he sort of like shakes himself off a little bit. I want you to go ahead and open yourselves up to the flow of energy in this place. Mostly the flow of energy outward and the wild energy, the growth. Just open yourself up to that just for a second.
Okay. Maybe
Okay.
pokes her nose up into the air, kind of flags her ears, flags her tail.
Does Talon do the same?
Talia is gonna sort of copy Maeve, but probably move slightly closer to the nearest tree.
Okay. As you go ahead and do so, as you open yourself up, it's more your spiritual side that's going to know this, more of your wolf side that's going to notice this. But whereas outside of the sept, it's static, it's calcified, it's tangled, it's unmoving, unyielding. Here in the sept, even in the Tellurium, there's a sense of regeneration, a sense of growth, a sense of vibrancy. And it's all coming from one particular direction. Maeve, you would know that that is the direction of the heart of the cairn, the heart of the sept. Not Emmett Wilson, the cairn stone, let's go ahead and call that one. That is the direction of all the wellspring of gnosis, all the wellspring of wild spiritual energy. And as Lucas starts to see you feeling that, he just goes ahead and says, that is why the sept was set up, because there is an active cairn here, an active wellspring of energy. All the money that comes into this place, sometimes it does come from taxpayers, sometimes it comes from special interest groups, and sometimes it comes from foreign agencies, but you can definitely put your money on it that wherever it comes from, the nation is providing for this place. And if you're wondering how in the world we keep the secrecy here, it's a combination of everybody here knowing that when to clamp their mouths shut, knowing which magics and which curtains to go ahead and draw or pull open, and it's just basic secrecy, basic masquerading. And as far as the security, the defense of the sept, well, you are it, my good man.
Noddle, noddle. And if you have the urge, you're one of those people who feels like you really do need to take care of yourself and you don't want to be indebted to the nation. I mean, if waitressing is what you do, you could always try to work at Redbones.
I prefer not to waitress. I say I do that as a part-time thing. My bigger thing, I normally work in one of the parks. I have been most recently, and my most favorite job has been being as like a climbing instructor.
Well, there's no reason you couldn't do jobs like that here. I mean, I've been thinking about... Pardon?
Lucas can go ahead and point his snout towards the training grounds and let you continue.
Yep. I've thought about applying at the zoo that's here. I know Olaf's a mechanic. Kachina has a whole casino to himself. He's freaking loaded. It's ridiculous. But there's no reason you can't still have jobs. It's just, well, now you can do the thing you want to do, because if for some reason you don't get the job, the nation will take care of you until you can. There's some of us who don't have a job at all, myself included, and there are people like Kachina who pull in so much money that I told him that I was thinking about trying to get into my glasswork, and he offered to buy me an entire glassworks.
Wow. But do you make it sound like even like afterwards, people tend to stay here?
Well, some of them do. I don't plan to.
What we're meant to do is protect Gaia, is to protect our mother. And the cairn here, that wellspring, you can feel that away, and she'll point her nose that way. That's one of the places that we have to protect and we have to keep safe and we have to keep sacred. So even some of us have come from other places. Olaf came from another sept and came here to help protect the cairn, because that is what we do.
The Minnesota Viking.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Talia will sort of nod. She, on some level, understands the importance of protecting that power.
So even if you don't want to stay here exactly at this cairn, it is best to be in a place like this and using your abilities to protect them. There's another cairn over on Long Island that soon we will have to be protecting now that it's purified. But that's why there are so many that stay here, is that there have to be enough of us that if something big, if something crazy attacks, we're here to stand between it and the cairn, so that the cairn can't be corrupted and destroyed.
Oh, and believe me, that's a bigger headache than anybody can consider, because, oh dear Lord, outside the bomb is unforgiving.
Noddle noddle. It's really weird. Like, if you wanted to sidestep and just look at the city, it's covered in spider webs.
I did see it briefly, the Matrix-looking thing.
Mm-hmm. The World Wide Web?
Yeah, sure, call it that.
That's what it
It's
is.
It's one of the reasons I don't mind staying here, is that I'm really not a fan of that now that I've seen it. And I go to the apartment, and sometimes I go for food, but generally I just like the way this place feels better.
But I mean, I don't have a lot of stuff. Like, you say you have a brother. Do you still talk to him? How do you, like, do anything with anyone else?
It's easier for me.
Yeah, I'd suppose it would be.
Well, I mean, Olaf told you the basic deal. Don't talk about Fight Club. If you still want to be in contact with your sister, you could still call her. You could still talk to her, and as long
Not
as you.
that I necessarily want to be in contact with her, but you say you want to keep this all a secret. She will. I know her. She'll raise all bloody hell.
Head tilt. Glance at Lucas.
Okay. Well, first off, you're going to be a little bit educated about the ways of the nation and the ways of the Vale, our laws that you are now under. Olaf is quite good at that, simply because he is the Philodox and would know all the laws. Afterwards, just
She
a
leans
matter
over.
of...
Philodox is a half moon.
That's what he was going on about Half Moon.
Mhm.
Didn't really get that.
Nod, nod.
You'll be taught how to
He
control
loves
your
to talk
rage.
so much.
Pardon?
You may need to repeat that one.
She said, she sort of aside to me. She's like, "Is that why he was so wanting to talk so much?"
Some. There are certain laws that are very important for us to know, especially if someone thinks they're going to leave the sept. You have to know the laws. You have to know the things that are important. And they all have... There's a reason for all of the laws. But yes, it's his job to be a judge and be a mediator and to make sure that we know the law.
Who made the law?
A
Kind of shrugs her
long,
shoulders.
long time ago, in a place very, very primordial, a lot of people got together and decided that they were being dicks to each other. And they decided not to be such dicks to each other. And they knew that the war that they constantly raged both in their hearts and on the battlefield would destroy them all. So they created a code to live by, both for themselves and for just war in general. They didn't follow it very well. We had many tragedies.
Right. So a bunch of guys a really long time ago made some rules.
Speak to one of the gibbous moons, the one that are more versed in our history.
Yep. Maeve will actually shuffle around a little and look for a clear bit of dirt. And with her big ol' wolf paws, draw the various moon phases. Just kind of scuff them roughly into the dirt and point to each. Each different moon phase, whatever you're born under, determines part of who you are and what you do in the nation. So and she'll point to a crescent moon, scuff, I am a crescent moon, and we are the ones who speak to spirits.
Luce is going to go ahead and pounce onto the new moon. I'm a Regabash. I am born in the new moon. We do a bit of everything, because nobody will notice us. We can get away with a lot more shit.
They can be anything
Sound like
from...
trouble.
They can be anything from trouble to, like outright assassin type people. They're the sneaky, sneaky guys.
Mm-hmm.
So from little trouble to big trouble.
Yep.
Everything in between. Lucas goes ahead and pronounces on over to the half moon. Half moon, Philodox, lawgivers. They look both ways, both towards the Theurge and Ragabash and the Galliard and Arun. It's their responsibility to take the laws, know the laws, interpret the laws, to uphold a sense of balance and a bit of justice, a bit of fair play as well. Olaf is a Philodox.
Noddle, noddle.
Let's see. Walking on over to the Gibbous Moon. You take this one.
I don't have as much experience with gibbous moons, but she'll plop a paw on it. Gibbous moons are kind of they're the lore keepers. They're the ones who remember the tales from the past. They're the ones who, when you do something, sing about your good deeds. They tell the tales. They're the ones who are the memory of the people. I've been told that if I want to learn more about the Fianna, I'm told, in fact, that potentially even the first Fianna was one of the first gibbous moons. That's the story, anyways, because that is what we do. We remember our history. We remember our lores. We remember great deeds.
Fianna?
Tribe.
We'll do that one next, actually. But first, we'll move on to your moon. And she'll poke Lucas.
Aruns. Full moons. Most full, with a cup and a half of Gaia's rage. Most capable warriors. Sometimes even very, very capable leaders of the nation. They are filled with rage, and they are a terror on the battlefield. A wise, well, a potent Arun knows how to take his rage and use it well. There are many examples of Aruns within this set. Let's see, most prominent. There's Natalia, there's Travis, one of her tribe. There is Tifa Titanium, a Glasswalker, who is half wolf, half man, all machine.
Yeah. She gives a little.
Terrifying.
You'll see Maeve give a little shudder over that one. Like, ugh.
I met an Arun name of Whisper, actually. Happens to be a Glasswalker. He goes ahead and shakes his head. There are many ways to combat the worm. There are many ways to physically fight the worm, and we'll go learn a little bit later. Let's still go ahead and say it not as fighting the worm, but defending the Karen. Many ways to defend the Karen. Some use bows, some use guns, some use their fists and claws and fangs. Others use swords and claves. Others use just whatever is on hand, including a rock sometimes. I've seen one or two Bonar ruins go ahead and throw a rock so quickly and heavily that it decapitated a guy. He was a bad guy, so don't worry about him.
Noddle, noddle.
Noddle, noddle.
So those, and she'll kind of scuff a line down the row, those are the auspices. Those are kind of how they determine what you do among the people. And most people feel kind of called towards it, so it doesn't seem to be one of those caste systems that's confining. People truly excel in the thing that is attributed to the moon they were born under. So
some would say
vaguely.
Some would say it is because Gaia knows what we wish and desire in our hearts. Some say Gaia knows the best thing for her children. And some say that the gifts that are bestowed on us by all our spiritual allies make us most suited for that role. I just think it's hilarious.
You think everything's hilarious.
Gotta laugh, not to cry. Nah, nah. Bite your ear.
Makes the big old, like, dramatic snarly face, like, rah, 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 rah. Doesn't actually go for anything, just to kind of stave his face off of her face. Pause his face.
Maybe enough talking for now?
Yep, if you want. We can talk about the tribes later.
I think there's only so much information I can try and keep in my head at once.
Thankfully, most of it kind of makes sense. The fuller the moon, the more rage there is, and the more likely they are to be battle ready. The less of a moon there is, the less they become fighters, and the more they become thinkers.
That actually makes probably more sense than anything at most of the other stuff so far.
Learning the words takes time, but all in all, what moon someone is makes a big difference. Learning the terms for the moons means that when you meet people and they tell you what they are, you will understand what they mean.
Okay.
You,
She's looking a bit impatient and it fidgets. She's kind of fidgeting now.
And maybe we'll go and scuff up the dirt. Well, what you want to do? Instead of talking.
Anything else that's fun? Looks like she's just a bit antsy.
We can
go rope climbing?
wrestle. We can rope climb. I get the feeling I'm not going to be good at this. But we can try it.
Rope climbing sounds good.
Alright. Watch a trick. Vroom! Lucas goes ahead and takes his helmet form.
Ooh, that's another thing. We'll get back to the training ground before we have you shift back, but it's really easy. Compared to everything else, it's really easy to snap back to your shape, to the one you were born in. So you shouldn't have any trouble just popping back.
Okay.
But first we'll get you where the clothes are. Nose, nose, nose.
Yeah.
Trot,
Lead
trot,
on.
trot.
And start walking in that
Back to the
direction.
training grounds. Trot, trot, trot.
Talia's trotting after you. She probably goes and tries to bat your tail a bit.
She'll start waffling her tail around, just kind of just in the hope that if you're close enough to bat, she can catch your nose a couple times, just like puh 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 puh.
Yeah, she sneezes and then just joins you alongside you.
Big dopey doggy grin.
She's gonna sort of slightly grin back and feel a little bit more relaxed.
So back to the training ground where she can shift back and I can answer my phone. And back to the training grounds.
Yay!
Trying to decide if I lost you guys.
Oh no. But the current action and the energy from the scene is coming from the player of Talony. What does Talony want to do?
Talia is. You find some ropes and she definitely looks a lot more confident and is like. And she's gonna just be like, anyone feel like a race?
Bounce! Doing the obstacle course?
Sure.
You want to narrate it or you want to roll it?
We can roll.
Alright. Let's see how quickly you can go past the the running part of the obstacle course before going to the climbing part.
Okay.
So that is it. Dex Athletics, my good man.
I like this.
The ones.
Yeah. Why with all the ones?
Okay. 2 successes versus 3.
One.
You're not trailing behind that badly. It's just that Lucas got a half step ahead of you. And you're running over the hurdles. You seem to be fantastic at this. And Lucas is the one that goes ahead and first puts his foot onto the climbing portion, that big steep rope climbing wall, and starts to bring himself up laboriously. You can imagine this guy doesn't have a lot of strength to him.
Okay.
So, strength athletics.
If I have like a specialization climbing thing.
Nice.
That'll come up when you go ahead and roll a 10.
Oh crap! Stupid.
Strength, 3 athletics.
3
That
strength,
a specialty.
4 athletics. The one still persists.
2-2. So, actually, you're quite equal. You imagine that you're not losing any traction quite yet. Lucas still goes ahead and hurls himself over the wall. You, being excellent in practice, do so just a half second behind him. And after tumbling to the ground, because Lucas goes ahead and scuffles his feet on the ground, you land with perfect precision. Now is time for the long sprint.
Oh. Okay. Yep, the end. She's gonna grit her teeth. She is not gonna let him beat her.
You can also, if you want to, for lulls, you can spend a willpower because you're really gung ho about it. You can spend a willpower for 1 automatic success on top of whatever you roll.
You can do that, my good man. I won't, because Lucas is just basing this off his natural ability, not a drive.
Meanwhile, Maeve is Maeve's cheering wildly for Talia because she knows she can't keep up with Lucas. Maybe Talia can.
All right.
Yeah, pretty determined.
Roll them bones. One last roll.
Are we back to Dex athletics again?
Yeah.
Yay!
How much you get?
I believe
1, 2,
5.
3, 4, 5, 6 because you spent a willpower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens. Lucas is running. He's sprinting down the track of the training grounds, and Tailani is, ever since the beginning, she has been a half step, a 2 seconds behind just Lucas, but in the final sprint, we see Talia go ahead and run like a mad woman, bring her legs up, her knees up, and just go ahead and sprint. 1, 2, first leg, second leg, passing Lucas, leaving him in the dust. It is a photo-perfect finish with Tailani running ahead of Lucas.
Oh.
And Lucas is going to go ahead and plop onto the ground exhausted, because he only has 2 stamina.
She's gonna look a bit winded, but she does have 4 stamina, so she's gonna turn around and clap him on the shoulder, but go, good race.
Yep.
Maeve, meanwhile, struggled valiantly to get over the obstacle just to see the last bit of the course, and she pops her head over, only just barely in time to see the very end of the sprint. She looks like just trying to get up the rope obstacle has completely exhausted her.
All right. Wait. Now I have 3 stamina. Okay, yeah. None of Madison's condition, but certainly you can go for another mile at least, my Tailani, with 4 stamina.
Eventually, we will batter it into your head that it's Talia. This is not Tailani. No, sir. No, sir.
It's Talia. Totally Talia.
It's okay.
I have been saying the wrong word, hasn't I?
Yep.
Probably about 50% of the time. It's okay. I feel the win is justified simply by that alone.
Fair enough. Okay. That's sort of what running the gauntlet feels like.
Maeve is finally propped on top of the climbing obstacle, just sitting at the top of it and clapping.
She turns around and does a little bow. If that's what running just makes me feel alive.
Good.
Then
And maybe you can catch him from now on. Jeez. He was hard enough to catch when he was running on 2 feet.
he's right. Now at 4, it's impossible.
Ugh.
I'm not sure I can keep up with your freaky teleport powers, but anytime you want to just race, I'm quite happy.
Awesome. I have a running buddy.
Noddle, noddle.
As long as you're not one of those chatty runners.
No, I don't tend to chat very much. I go ahead and play more often, but I don't know. Looks to Maeve. Do you think she could try the gauntlet again?
Yeah, I could help.
Looks to Talani. You want to try it again?
She's feeling pretty high off her win, otherwise she would not consider this. But yeah, she's like, well, you say it just feels like that.
And Maeve
Give it a crack.
not so gracefully descends from the obstacle. She's not so good as the other two at the athletics and whatnot, so she just kind of weasels herself down into a dangle and drops gracelessly onto her butt.
Talia does go over and help try and pick her back up off of the floor.
She'll take the hand up. Yeah, it's not that bad. And here, she'll pull out her compact mirror out of her pocket and offer it over.
Talia will take it and give it a try if anything that's going to help. But she's feeling quite, say, high off at victory and confident.
Good, good. Then Maeve is also going to take her time and will probably step across first. Just because she's pretty darn good at that.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll slip sideways and stand expectantly and wait for Talia to follow.
Lucas is going to stay on this side of the gauntlet in case weird shit happens.
Right.
And if you're taking your time, you don't have to roll it, so you don't have to worry about getting stuck.
I was going to say, I was like, if you want me to try and roll it simply because she did it so badly last time, I will. But
No, we're trying to rebuild her confidence. Don't do it.
Rebuilding confidence is hard.
yeah, okay, in terms of taking it slowly, she is kind of impatient, so
Well, you can, if you find that it's difficulty of 3 usually.
cool.
Oh, goodness.
Is that 1?
It's not a 1.
It's
It
not
just
a
means that
1.
you get across.
So what is it?
It's a 2.
Okay, so it doesn't happen immediately, but you can still go ahead and flow on through.
She does
Just
it slowly. It's still not easy, but she does get there.
It's like you're running in place. That's how you're currently imagining it. You're running in place. Your physical form is running. You don't seem to be getting anywhere too quickly until you just go ahead and bust out to the other side. Break on through to the other side. Break on through to the other side.
And Maeve will be waiting there, aglow again, and smiling.
She'll get through and she'll be panting, probably looking more tired than she did from running the obstacle course, and a little bit stressed, but also very relieved and happy that she's through, and offers Maeve a big smile.
See,
I
it's
did
not
it.
that bad.
That's not the words I would use, but maybe not as terrifying as before.
Not. And like as not, because, well, Maeve's over in the Umbra, there's at least 1 or 2 doves lingering around. They'll eventually swoop down and land on her shoulders.
Disney princess. From the other side of this particular clearing of the penumbral reflection of the training grounds, yeah, break on through to the other side. Lucas goes ahead and launches himself at Maeve again in a full body tackle and hug.
Woof! And naturally the doves are going to take flight because, oh god, why? But, woof! Oh gosh!
I decided to run this time
Why would you do that?
to see if it was different.
Was it different?
A little bit. Go
And
ahead and
she'll
prop her back up, like, all appropriately. Like, this is a princess doll. The princess doll stands up.
she'll get herself upright again properly and try to beckon at least one of the doves back down onto her arm. And she'll remark for Talia's sake, this is the reason that I like this so much. These are, and when she looks at the doves, they're not just, a dove that you see in the park or in the trees. This is the whitest, the cleanest, the most heart-stirringly peaceful. Like, this is everything that you kind of imagined a dove would be. It's more than just an animal. It's the very personification of how you imagine a dove.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty.
And
Yep.
you may not have the skill yet, but at least in my case, I can talk to them, and they are where we can get our abilities. The doves can teach me to calm people down or to heal them. Other spirits can teach me to do other things, but this is the other half of what we are. Just like we're half person and half wolf, we are half physical and half spiritual. And it's important to remember to keep your halves in balance. So I'm glad that you tried again.
She's gonna nod at you. Yeah, well, I'm glad I did it again, but still not sure it's my favorite thing.
That's
This
okay,
place-
Garrett's not a big fan either.
Oh, are we gonna introduce the new cub to Garrett?
Of course we are, and we will likewise take away his option of not liking her, just like we did with us.
Excellent.
He's gonna have to get used to it sooner or later. I told him. When
Mhm.
we're adults, it's happening, and he's gonna be my pack. And you're gonna be my pack. Neither of you
Well,
has a choice.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Tony. I should have told you. Walks over to her, goes ahead and places a hand on her shoulder. It looks very forlorn. He looks down on the ground. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
And I just hate for just some innocent girl like you to have to run. Run now while you still have the chance.
She's gonna pat you on the head and sort of try and move away.
Sidle, sidle.
This is weird, yeah, sidling sideways.
But no, we're
Okay.
no. She's good people. She's worth your attention.
Besides, it seems weird to be an adult and not have a pack. I don't know how Garrett managed it for so long.
Who's Garrett?
Garrett. He's a nice bloke. You'll see him walking around the sept. Well, he's an acquired taste, I'll tell you that much.
Yep, he tries to pretend that he's all shadowy and standoffish, but he tells you what you need to hear, and he honestly gives a damn, and all in all, that's pretty good for this place.
Mm-hmm. He's a ragbash. He says what comes to mind. Doesn't give a shit if it bothers people.
Says what needs to be said.
Yep.
Noddle, noddle.
Nod, noddle.
She shrugs and goes, well, I appreciate honesty. It's not time for all the silly other stuff.
Yep. Look, the people around here, almost all of them mean well, but a lot of times they say things that either don't seem to make sense or don't seem to be right. It's good of Garrett to say the things that need saying without being needlessly cruel about it or trying to sugarcoat it for you. He just says it.
Mm-hmm.
Olaf's good people too. And he's pretty good about dealing with our horse shit.
Mm-hmm.
Noddle noddle.
Let's see. Olaf. Was not kidding about the Minnesota Viking part. Great warrior, big axe. Well, I haven't seen his axe, but I've seen him at work defending the Karen. They're using that term, defending the Karen. Big man, strong man, big heart. Takes way too much responsibility on himself. Cares way too much about the people around him.
Good at being bossy?
Bossy? Not so much. But he has the tendency to fall on his sword too often.
He may seem bossy, but he really is, like, especially compared to everyone else. The things he tells you that you should do, again, he's just being straight up with you. They're things that you really should keep in mind and really should do. He's not trying to rain on your parade. He's just saying it like it needs to be.
Yeah, and he'll teach you stuff. Oh, the things he will teach you, and the ways he will teach you them. You will like him.
Yeah,
He will
probably.
like you.
Noddle. Especially with you being a full moon. You'll probably get more out of his lessons than Lucas does. Poke, poke.
I get a lot from his lessons, like how to go ahead and clean up and cover up bruises, and blood stains, and dirt stains.
You already knew how to do that.
Yeah, I already learned how to get out the stains.
Dodge better.
I dodge awesomely. It's the hitting part that's always a little bit iffy. I'm so much. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm so much better at doing what needs to be done when nobody can see me, such as the tackle and the ambush. Very good at those. You give me time to set up, and that prey is gonna go down.
You don't always have time.
I think that's the point to the training, is that you don't always have time.
This is true, but I was raised mostly in the Boy Scouts. It's a great lie right there. He says posing in a Boy Scout pose.
Definitely get a raise her eyebrow at you. Boy Scout is definitely, yeah.
Should I P&E that? Liar face?
No. He is plainly putting on a pose and lying. I was told and taught how to be prepared for any and all situations. And that was one of the reasons when you came in, I was so prepared with an extra set of clothes for you. I've pretty much seen and done quite a lot, so I keep a lot of tools and handy items on hand, like duct tape. You'd be amazed how many times you use duct tape.
Noddle.
In the context of your van, that brings creepiness to mind.
My van is not creepy.
Shaggy's a very nice van.
The only times maybe you have other intentions for your van, but the only time I've encountered it, definitely, and what everything you've told me so far definitely leans towards the creepiness.
But Shaggy's so nice, so laid back. All you need to do is get more in touch with him. You did talk to him a little bit more, get to know him better.
Yep, his van actually has a spirit now, and so you can no joke step like this into the spirit world and talk to the van if you have the ability to talk to spirits. I talked to him.
And my van has a lot of friends, doesn't it?
Yep.
How on Yeah, I'm just gonna leave aside the fact you're saying a machine has a spirit.
She kind of shrugs. It's weird to me, but I mean, any spirit's one worth talking to, really. So, eh.
Animals have spirits. We have spirits. The trees have spirits. The grass has spirits. The sun and the moon, oh yeah, they're big spirits. Sometimes the things you create also have a spirit.
She shrugs.
Everything alive and everything is animus. There are certain rites that you can learn to actually wake up a spirit of a thing. Like you can maybe wake up the spirit of a dove, or you can walk over and wake up the spirit of a park bench, or you could wake up a spirit of a VCR.
Maeve blinks. Wouldn't the dove already be awake?
It could be more awake.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Sure, drugs make sense, right?
I guess. Does it make them bigger?
No, it's just okay. You know how the dove spirits here are simply here?
Mm-hmm.
There aren't any birds, or not a lot of them in the park right now because it's winter and Christmas time. You never asked for the ducks go when the lake freezes over?
Well, I mean, they migrate, I guess. Don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. But you go over to the phenomenal reflection of the lake right now, and you can see a few duck spirits.
Oh.
Do the spirits here not have to be attached to something in the other world, like us?
Yes. Good observation.
That would explain why there are all those wolf spirits. I haven't seen a wolf besides our kin and the Garu at all, really.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, some of the kin are wolves?
Well, if you think about it, just like
Mm-hmm.
a person can become a Garu, there are wolves that become Garu. And they live their lives as wolves until the day they change. So just like there are people who have the blood in them and are our kin, there are wolves that have the blood in them and are our kin. Though I think all the ones we have locally have a huge enclosure over at the zoo. It's the best way to keep them safe.
Mm.
Safe, contained. Is that really okay? Are they okay with that?
I mean, I've talked to Kailani before, and she grew up a wolf on a huge, I guess, some sort of animal preserve. It sounds like, and she said that it confused her and she could run for days and days before she saw a wall, but it always confused her that there were walls there, but that she had the understanding somehow that they were something she could not cross, and I don't know if she realized until afterwards that they were there to keep her safe, but it didn't make her life any less full. She could still run through a large territory. She could still be a wolf. She could still hunt. Heck, she had puppies. She lived a normal wolf life. So I imagine as long as the enclosure was big enough, as long as they had room to run and to be wolves, they wouldn't mind. I mean, where else are you going to keep a bunch of wolves in New York?
I guess. Shrugs.
She kind of shrugs too. I wondered about that myself, but we have, like, our den father, Katori, he was lupus. And if he isn't bent out of shape about it, then I imagine I shouldn't be.
Little overhead, little tiny quake of energy, destructive, corruptive energy, just flies overhead, and those worm emanations get a little bit stronger.
And Maeve will turn her eyes up very promptly and kind of knit her brow. Are they still drilling?
Drilling?
You can pop open the door and he'll run out.
Yeah, that's got worse. That got worse. Why did that get worse?
Yeah, that just got worse. There is, and she'll point, and in the Umbra, it's like a big black void spot in the sky. She'll point to it. Did you hear about Geodyne? About how they're mining an asteroid or whatever that they brought into orbit?
I saw something on the news.
Well, there are things in that asteroid. There are evil things. Those are the things, that feeling you have right now, that evil that you can kind of feel just setting up the hairs on the back of your neck for no reason, that's the kind of evil that we have to fight. That's why we have to keep the cairn safe. Let me shoot Bob a link to this. But that is what we have to worry about. And there's a lot of it in that asteroid. There's something nasty coming out of it. And it's something we have to keep our eyes and ears on and know about and deal with before it gets out of hand.
Deal with anything that's in space.
That's one heck of a
So
question.
much bigger than a few wolves in a park. Or people in
Well,
a park.
this is how we did it last time. Basically, we got in the back of the mystery machine, contacted one of our dealers, the spirit of Tommy Chung, got high, and just simply floated up to the sky. Now, excuse me while I go ahead and try to kiss the sky, as he's just going to go ahead and jump up a little bit and dramatically go ahead and float before falling to the ground on the single foot.
We can do all sorts of things here like that, things that don't necessarily make sense in the real world, but here they just kind of work because magic. But that, she'll point up, that's exactly the sort of thing that we have to worry about. And it's something bigger than we're allowed to deal with because we're still cubs. We're still in training, but it's
That's
still...
just because I have no fucking clue what to do with that. Yeah, this is a lot.
Most of the time for us, the most we do is, and you'll hear it now, when something comes into the park, something that's tainted with that stuff, and she'll emphasize by pointing upwards, there are wards up. There are spirits that fly into the air and they yell that something is wrong and something has come into the sept that is tainted and wrong. And we run and we try to deal with it. Now, thankfully, we have never yet run to something like that. There's always, well, I mean, we've never run alone to that. There's always bigger Garu there. There's always adults there, and those of higher rank. So, I mean, the last time I did something like that wasn't a cub coming in, it was monsters, and all I did was stand between Lucas, because he was still kin at the time, and another kinfolk and the monsters, and those who were of higher station and better experience, they fought them.
Like me. You turn around and see a severely scarred wolf staring at you. Its torso, from about the left diagonally to the lower right, has claw marks that Talia might remember quite well, actually.
Olaf?
Also, Talia, a wolf's talking to you.
Oh, don't worry. We all went into Lupus and played around for a lot.
Yep.
Olaf sits. Yeah, Olaf. I was there that night. Those are what are called formori. I don't entirely know the reason
For what?
why. Formori. Not a name I decided, simply a name I learned over time. They're what happens when a high enough amount of worm taint enters the body of something, and I don't know the exact specifics, but if it's there for long enough and strong enough, they become something other than mortal. They become creatures of the worm.
We haven't gone into the whole worm thing. We didn't do the litany and we didn't do the triad. So that's all you, buddy. Pat Wolf's shoulder. Plops down on the ground.
You two should know. Kotori Raya is coming back soon.
We know. We want to see
Good.
our Din Daddy again.
Just remember. And he leaves it hanging there.
Oh my, look at that tree over there. What a nice tree.
Oh my, look at that moon. Takes a rage point, spins it to go into Lupus. Sits down.
Alright, Talia. I may as well explain the triad to you. I know the basics, so I'm gonna pass on the basics. First of all, there is Gaia, creator of all that is, our spiritual mother, and the reason we exist.
Hunkers down too.
We live as, and especially you, soldiers for Gaia. We keep her heart beating, despite all that might see it cease. I wouldn't say that we do this motion ourselves, but we defend it. That's the point. Gaia is a wellspring for life, a force all her own, and frankly, in my opinion, the source of everything that's truly clean and pure in this existence. Not a member of what we call the triad, but important to know. Now, the actual triad, the big forces in this world, and when Katori returns, he will explain this in much more depth. You have the wild, the creative energy of the world. Very much about change, very much about constantly shifting things about.
Surely that sounds like a good thing.
Within reason. There's a reason it's a triad and not, one. It's constantly changing, so you could say that there's a lack of stability. But at the same time, the wild is what we draw much from. It can be dangerous, but it is a great boon to us who change shape at will. Then you have the weaver. The weaver creates stability, but it doesn't have the free change of the wild. It creates big monolithic structures that are calcified, stuck in place, static. The weaver represents the structure. And then you have the worm. In the original purpose of things, the worm's point was to destroy so that new things could arise, so that creation simply didn't pile on top of itself. But every cub should know the story of how things came to be as they are. I know the basics, so I'm going to pass you the basics.
That's probably all I can cope with at the moment. I'm
Things
doing my
that-
best, but I pretty much got what the others were telling me earlier, but I still feel like I'm just keeping my head above water.
I was a cub for a long time. You get used to it.
So
Now, as I
keep
was...
telling me.
We are creatures of change. He nods and then continues. This was the basis of the triad, the way things ran since before there was ever recorded history, for aeons and aeons, farther back than I could remember, farther back than I know. The worm would destroy things, the weaver would build them up again, the wild would come and change them about from time to time. Things remained in balance. But one fine day, the weaver got an idea. The weaver was sick of the worm tearing down the structures it built up. So it trapped the worm in its webs, trapped it in tight, and the worm was trapped, stuck, unable to move. Unable to fulfill its purpose, it became mad, far beyond insanity. And thus it was corrupted into what we know today, a force of raw destruction, decay, corruption. Everything that frankly is wrong with the world. And it seeks now not only to unleash itself, but to destroy everything, such as its madness. It's taken its base purpose and run it through the roof. Were the worm to have its way, nothing would exist. And we fight that. It comes in many shapes, in many forms. Banes, Fomori, Black Spiral Dancers. Other things that even I do not know. But it is our enemy. If it is of the worm, we live to destroy it.
Why is it us that fight?
It is
Why
our
does
purpose.
nobody else know about this?
We're the only ones equipped for the task. Gaia bore us into the world specifically to be her soldiers. Now, on to the litany, very important for your day-to-day life. The laws of our people.
Lucas goes ahead and suppresses a sigh about hearing this again. It seems like he's been here for every single recitation of the litany to the new cubs.
Olaf trots over and baps him on the nose.
I said he repressed it.
He does it on principle.
Okay, fair enough.
He's hung out with Lucas enough. He knows. He knows.
He knows.
And once he's done doing that, Olaf sits back down and goes on. Okay, so, the litany. Has anyone explained auspices to you yet, young lady?
Noddle.
Totally.
Well, tell me what you have learned about auspices.
Quiz
Takes a bit of
time.
sigh, thinks quite hard, and
Maeve will helpfully sit herself up and lean forward and make the same chart as she did before in the dirt with her paws. In the umbral reflection of the dirt, will scuff out the same symbols so that she has something of a visual guide to go by as she goes.
so, as the others explained, if I make mistakes, it's my fault, not theirs. That there are the different phases of the moon, and depending on when we're born, apparently this decides what we're going to be, or what our purpose is, or what our strengths are. I think that was something about it. There was the new moon, which was Lucas, which was... I remember this name.
As he senses her pausing, Olaf goes over to the chart that Maeve made. Very purposely, he sits in front of the one representing the new moon.
Lucas looks happy to have been mentioned.
The new moon, the Ragabash,
Yeah.
the questioner. Ragabashes have many uses. They ask questions, they think through pathways that others do not think through often, or at least cause people to think, at least consider. They're the first to ask questions. They're also the tricksters. They play pranks rather professionally, usually to impart lessons in their own way, should it be necessary. And, very important in combat, they are the scouts. They have ways of moving unseen, unheard, seeing things that, well, one such as myself could not were he to try the same feat. A Ragabash leads the way.
So that's what he calls the cheating he was doing earlier.
Yes, that is in fact what he calls it. And he trots over to the next one. The crescent moon, the Theurge. Theurges specialize in speaking with spirits. Now, I am not very learned in the exact nature of spirits, but I know that we can speak to them if we have the right gifts. I possess such a gift, actually. And through making deals, doing certain things, they can be convinced to help us in our fight. They're of Gaia as well. And while they have their own purposes, through the right deals and the right relationships, they can be great allies. We very much rely on spirits to help us in our fight. That is the main point of a Theurge, specialize in such things. Trots over to the next one. The Half Moon, my moon, the Phylodux. We are the law keepers of the land. We are here to interpret the law, to render judgment, to think hard on things like mediation and tactics, to keep the internal parts of Garo society moving and to lead the way, at least morally. I have heard a Phylodux higher than myself referred to us as the gold standard of what it means to be Guru. You can notice he says things a lot different than the other two.
Yeah.
He trots over to the next one.
So you're the headmasters of this crazy school.
I wouldn't say that. That's a rank structure entirely separate. But many Phylodoxes find themselves in places of leadership, yes. The gibbous moon, the galliard, the tail singer. Very, very important. We Garo. He said two different ways. We Garo are a very oral people. We have an oral history. It's how we pass down our tales, our histories, everything about ourselves, including our sacred knowledge. The Galliards are the keepers of such lore. You can see how this would be important. It helps keep our secrets and it helps pass them on. You can just imagine if our enemies were to walk about and find many, many scrolls full of knowledge of the Guru lying around. Very bad. But the Galliards, so long as they live on and pass their tales, can sing us our wisdom and be the memory of our people. And then finally gets the last one. Ah, the full moon, the Arun. All Garo are warriors. We are all soldiers of Gaia, but the full moon is a warrior amongst warriors. A soldier amongst soldiers, leading the charge, fighting the hardest, those of stout strength and courage. A Garo in combat can always look up to an Arun. On the one hand, very strong, all the things I said. On the other hand, some of the most touched by rage. Have they taught you a rage yet?
I'm not sure it's taught. I definitely almost tried to experience some of it again. I think that's what they were telling me. She looks a bit confused, but
It's very important I explain this to you. Because you, young lady, are one of the most touched by rage. The rage in our hearts when we are born again is Garo. Very powerful thing, almost overpowering sometimes. It comes from the indignation of Gaia at what has been done to her. It can make you faster than fast. Not faster than a silent strider, mind you, but pretty darn fast. Can make you strong, can activate some of the sacred gifts spirits pass on to you. It can do many, many things. But it can also drive you crazy. It can drive you into what's known as the berserker frenzy, wearing the bear shirt. Olaf's too wrapped up in what he's doing. I'm not even going to make the perception alertness. He's way too wrapped up in this. To the point where...
to look for anything else.
To the point where you don't even know what you're tearing into. You will spend your whole life working to master this rage. You will spend your whole life having to monitor yourself for the day you may lose control. But as you build yourself up, you will master your rage. You will make it your tool, for that's what it really is, a tool. Many people, they hold their rage to their hearts, too close. like
Because
it's a
earlier
true
it nearly
piece.
made me lash out at Lucas, and all he was doing was playing.
You will learn control.
I have that effect on people.
I too was very touched by rage, more
No.
than most Philodoxes ever are. Some said I even had as much rage as an Arun. That is less than sense, but the point is, I have a good idea of what you're feeling right now. Just remember, Talia, though it may be in your heart gifted by Gaia, rage is but a tool, and to be treated as such. And a good worksman, a good soldier, always keeps control of their tools and their weapons.
Otherwise, there is no difference between them, and you become a slave to it.
Olaf does the rollover rover for Katori.
Perk.
On his back.
Flop.
And Lucas is gonna like stay like that for a while.
Yeah, this guy shows up, and at the very least, I know Lucas and Maeve immediately roll onto their backs for no apparent reason. Just so you know, Talia, what's going on.
So we're in the Umbra. So I guess I might add you a little something. That that wolf that is arriving has he kind of looks weird as Maeve does in the Umbra, but not in the same way. His face is all white, and his fur is actually contains feathers, and his paws and claws are actually talons, and his eyes are as dark as the night. And yeah, he kind of looks like an owl.
Yeah, Maeve, by the way, does still glow when she's a wolf. The glowiest wolf. I'm a nightlight.
Glorious wolf!
So, as the only common human still standing, because she didn't change before we came here or when she got here, she's gonna be a little bit freaked out and like step back from this new wolf, but she wouldn't know to do anything else.
Maeve will chirp up and say, "This is Katori. He's the den father."
This is. Let's see. Dear Katori, Raya, Rise to the Waves, Uctina, Lupus, Theurge, Adrin of the nation.
And from his back, Olaf adds in, and hero of the abyss.
Glory just turns to Olaf. Huh. Well, that's a new one.
The story
will
makes the rounds, Raya.
Huh. Well, I was also a pirate, and you were one. Fun time.
Indeed.
He
Yeah,
turns to.
Olaf's gonna stay there until Katori lets him off.
Oh yeah, no. He nibbles your neck, saying, "Yeah, it's good. You can." You can get up.
Olaf rights himself and sits right next to Katori.
By the way, he's completely ignoring the 2 hours.
Yep,
We're crying on the inside. Don't worry.
don't worry.
He looks at the newcomer. So, have they told you how to introduce yourself yet?
No?
Very well, then this shall be your first lesson. What is your name?
Talia?
What is your auspice?
Arun?
And what is your rank?
I wasn't aware I had one. Cub, I guess?
And Kotori just kind of grins. Well, there you have it. You have a proper introduction. Generally, when you face another Garu and you need to introduce yourself, you tell your name, the deed name that was bestowed upon you by your brothers and sisters, if you have one, your auspice, your rank, and, well, your tribe. But as of now, you don't have one. Until you choose one, or, well, in some case, one choose you. But as of now, this is not of your concern. So, how have you fared since your first change?
My first change was only last night. I don't think you could have said it was. It doesn't seem like anyone's first night seems to have been the easiest night, but mine still stays very close to me. I'm this. Yeah, I'm not sure completely okay with all of this yet. Getting there, but
One's change can always be different. Everyone feels different about how they change, how their perception change, how they see the world in a new view. I guess you have been lucky in your first change. Some have not been as lucky as you are.
lucky. I'm not sure I'd describe it as lucky.
Well, you're alive. That's being lucky, some might say.
I'm definitely glad to still be alive. I did nearly get trapped between worlds, which was possibly the most horrific thing.
Yes, that is not the most exquisite experience.
If by exquisite you mean utterly terrifying, then yes.
Well, you can always see this as a lesson. That way, you will know that this is a bad idea to mess with things of the Umbra, and the Umbra should always be dealt with caution. And one should always remember not to lose all their gnosis and be trapped in the Umbra.
Well, most ashamed shame face. It happens.
You can.
Go on. It seems that you have questions. I am here to answer your questions.
I'm sorry, did you say you could get trapped here? As nice as this place is, I mean, it's definitely quieter than out there, but I don't really like the idea of being trapped anywhere.
Well, there are worse places to be trapped. A cage is not a very nice place, neither is a zoo. But as for being trapped here, it is generally only temporary. There is, just as rage, there is a power within you. It's your connection to Gaia. It is called Gnosis. I would guess it hasn't been explained to you.
Not in the words you're using, no. We tried to explain some kind of connection earlier, but I didn't realize there was some power coming from, I think it was the can, but beyond that I didn't.
Gnosis
I'm not the fastest.
Well, and he looks at you upside down. Well, if you were in lupus, you would be faster.
Oh, running is fine. Running, that has probably been the one thing that I have enjoyed. Probably the one thing that makes something a little bit better out of all of this. Crazy?
Tail raises just a tiny little bit.
Yep, the tiniest bit.
To speak in words that might be more familiar. Your gnosis is your spiritual power. It's your connection to this realm. It will allow you to do a lot of things. For example, you could do this, and yeah, you could already have some fun. Oh yes, all the fun. Basically, where was Lucas? Now Lucas seems to get up as he's on some kind of couch, but just is made out of earth.
Lucas goes ahead and settles into the earth couch.
Destroys the earth couch.
Talia's
Plops the 1 foot down to the ground.
startled but amused and is like snickering slightly.
You can also do many other things. It gives you the ability to, well, bargain with spirits and also activate some of your powers. But just as rage allow you to be a better warrior, to heal better, comes with a cost. Wherever you will not feel the connection anymore to your rage, you will reverse back to your breed form, the born that you were born to. So it means that if you're in the middle of a combat, fighting in the war form, if you lose your rage, you will be squishy again. And the same goes for your gnosis. If you run out of your gnosis, you will be unable to cross back until you gain back your gnosis. And generally, that goes through meditation. I heard you Homids are very fond of meditation. And strange positions.
I understand that some people do meditate, but not something I've ever taken the time with before. He looks a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of sitting still.
Well, you will have to learn at some point. It would be a shame for you to be trapped here. Then it would mean I would have to come and grab you by the neck like a cub, which you are, and bring you back on the other side.
Definitely don't want to be trapped.
Well then, don't use all your spiritual energy and that should be fine.
Maeve's tail has curled entirely onto her belly at this point.
She nods, definitely looking a lot more like she's taking this a lot more seriously than perhaps she had before.
He's going to turn to Olaf. Have you been teaching them any other things?
This one, no. Her first change was trying. I attempted to explain how to step between worlds. Her second time over, she got caught in the webs. We were focused on getting away from the site where it happened, getting her here past the police.
Mm.
The other one, Albert,
Mm-hmm.
I've explained to him the litany. He has been explained the ranks, some other things, a very loose version of the auspices, not much more. He is very accepting, very ready to learn. He, before he came here, was some sort of man of higher learning.
Wiggle the tail.
When he was first here, his chief concern was completing some sort of assignment from his schooling. I know.
Well, he should talk to Ren.
He should. He should. I'll make sure it happens. Or at least do my best over the link. He's currently staying in my cabin.
Very well. You will send him to me.
Of course, Raya.
And are there any other cubs that I should be aware? Because apparently the minute I step out, they pop everywhere.
Cinnamon Harris.
Yep.
Puts Kotori sigh and put a paw on his muzzle. Oh, this is going to be painful.
I already told old Bill to get ready for another flip.
If anybody looks at Lucas, he'll shut the fuck up.
This
Yeah.
facial expression looks
Yeah.
directly at Lucas.
Alright, two very, very serious wolves will go ahead and point themselves at Lucas, and Lucas will shut his fucking trap.
Well, I see you over there, Mr. ST. Ah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's only good if smiles come back. Ha! In your face.
Yo,
Anyway.
he's gone.
Anyway. All right. So you're Naroon.
That's what they tell me.
How are you with your fists?
Are you asking, can I hit something?
Yes.
Well, I've never really had to do it that much, but I know how to throw a punch. But somehow, from what you've been talking about, I don't think that's going to cut it.
Kotori takes a minute to think. You're going to go to that place over there. He's showing you something that looks like a fucking castle. You will go over there and you will ask to talk to Travis Raya and say that you need to learn how to punch things good. And then if you want a more, he thinks, he tries to think of the right word, a more dirty school of fighting, then I suggest that you go to search for the Arun Silverfang, known as Natalia.
Olaf's ears flip back slightly.
Is there something you want to add, Olaf?
He looks over at Katori. Raya, Natalia, Arun, yes.
Mm.
Good judgment, no.
True. But I would say that if one needs to know how to fight, one must know how to fight dirty. But
Mm.
she should go to Travis first. Travis will take great pleasure in making you able to fight, and also, even if he seems a little bit weird sometimes, he's good. Let's just say he's your very happy-going fighter, very passionate. If you have any doubt, just bring him a beer.
He is also my brother-in-law.
Oh yes, that's right, I forgot that.
So, you want me to go to... First of all, when was there a castle? Where did... In Central Park? I don't ever recall anyone ever been one.
Actually, OC note that the Belvedere Castle, people walk into there
Okay.
all the fucking time.
Cool. I don't know.
It's very small.
I just have... Oh, see, I have Doku pulling faces at me. That's fine.
Hmm.
Fair enough. But you want me to go learn to fight?
You are going to have to. You're an Arun. If I were to let you come into our society without having someone to teach you how to fight, well then, I would say that your chance of survival would be very low. And also, being an Arun, he will be able to relate to you and explain to you how to master your rage and not let it control you.
I'm all up for surviving, and I very much don't like the idea of having to lose control, like I have to say, and doing that again. But I So I guess this, if you say this is the best way to do it, then I guess I have this. This is all so strange that I have to follow any direction I've got, I suppose. She kind of looks at Maeve like, am I doing the right thing? Kind of look on her face.
Maeve looks at the very least reassuring. She's not speaking up as long as Katori's there, but she shoots her a reassuring glance.
She'll take that and kind of nod at Katori.
Hmm. I will give you more lessons. I will mostly focus on teaching you how to be a proper wolf. Because this is a thing that Hamids seems to lack. They think like Hamids, sure. They take initiative, which is good, but sometimes they forget the bigger picture. So As of my role, I will teach you about the spirits, teach you about how to be a wolf. I will have Olaf teach you more about the litany. It is what his auspice demands of him. I can teach it to you, but I think that a true Philodox will be able to answer most of your questions. And maybe you can even have a discussion about the laws.
Yes,
It
the
is
laws.
good
He does
to know.
seem very intent on teaching me these laws.
They are very important.
Olaf looks up somewhat expectantly at Katori.
He gives you the nods. That's your cue.
Very well. Just try to remember we have to go do that thing soon. Alright, the laws. The first one, Garo shall not mate with Garo. We're gonna do the fast version and you and I are gonna do the long version later.
I'm
Don't
awful fast.
don't have sex with other Garo, ever. Period. The children born of such unions bear great pain their entire lives. It is the deepest sin you can ever commit against an innocent. Next, combat the worm wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds. Very simple. We
At
are
the first
born.
precinct of the litany, you know that Lucas goes ahead and like absolutely curls up.
He's still good. He's still charging in. Our whole point of existing is to combat this force on behalf of Gaia. It is our calling, our duty, a sacred law. Respect the territory of another. You are part human, yes, but you are also of wolf. We take territory very seriously. You must treat all within another territory with courtesy. Treat that land with courtesy, the things within it with courtesy. Our rage can cause simple misunderstandings to erupt into cataclysms of violence. A little common courtesy in the right place avoids such things. Accept an honorable surrender. Should you ever be in a challenge with another Garo, which believe me, in your life you will see many, and many of them will be combat, you must accept their surrender. There's no reason to kill someone who has already yielded to you. Submission to those of higher station. We are of ranks. We are like a military. Do as your superiors bay you, and for the love of Pete, show them respect. It's the only way we get on, with someone giving the orders and someone following the orders.
Tail twitch.
First share the kill for the greatest in station. Put simply, the highest in station at the site of a kill gets first pick.
Not to interject your clearly very important rules, but how you say there's all this rank, and I respect where respect's due, I get that, but who decides? How does this work?
The one greatest in station decides.
That doesn't seem particularly fair.
It's the way of our people. We will have a longer discussion later. Ye shall
Always
not
with the
eat.
later, but carry on.
Ye shall not eat the flesh of humans. Don't do it. And I'm going
Do I
to add a
to?
little. There are some who would enjoy it quite a bit, if not for this law. I'm going to add an addendum to that. While there's no official law for it, you eat the flesh of a wolf, I'll come down on you like a fucking avalanche. Our wolfkin are very important.
And so will
I
I.
have no desire to eat either wolves or people. I think
Good girl.
that is one I can definitely say I'm not going to have a problem with.
Perfect. The next, The veil should not be lifted. Our existence is a secret to those of the mundane world and must remain so to prevent all sorts of misfortune that I will explain to you later. All sorts of misfortune. Humanity cannot know of our existence. Other creatures, supernatural things, cannot know of our existence, cannot know our secrets. Or as I explained to you on your first day, don't talk about Fight Club.
I would rather not know about Fight Club, so I totally understand that no one else should know about Fight Club.
Now here's the one that Hamad's sensibilities are going to have a problem with. Do not suffer thy people to tend thy sickness. Simply put, times were you were no longer able to fight, no longer able to carry on. You were not to suffer yourself to live. As it's practiced these days, as long as you can contribute to the war effort, you may keep your life. But if you ever get to the point where you are bedridden, useless, this law often comes to effect. Many Hamids find it cruel. We find it necessary.
I'm not sure I find it cruel, I find it totally mental.
It's still a law. Leave that part to the Philodoxus. The
So
leader
you
may be
say.
challenged at any time during peace. He's obviously overriding you here. He's
Yeah,
trying to run through this. There's something else on
Yeah.
his mind.
yeah.
If there's a peacetime, a time where we are not actively calling for war, as long as you are within a certain range of rank, you can challenge the leader. You can challenge him on a number of things, even for his own leadership. I will explain to you the conduct of challenges, which are often a matter of law, with the approval of Katori Raya later.
Mhm.
The second one, the leader may not be challenged during wartime. Wartime is what we're in currently. Wars are tumultuous things. They require leadership. You cannot have a leader constantly harried by those to the side or beneath him. Thus is the reason for this law. And finally, ye shall take no action that causes a cairn to be violated. In practice, what this means is that you shall not take a tainted object anywhere near a cairn. You shall not take a tainted creature anywhere near a cairn. You shall not allow the cairn to be tainted or overrun by our enemies. Ever. Even if you are the last warrior standing, it is your duty to stand and fight till you die or they die. This is the one law all the tribes agree on. This is the one law we hold close. Cairns are deeply sacred objects and deeply important. Often, usually, the penalty for this law is an extremely painful death. And that is the litany. We will discuss this much in the future. And he looks back up to Katori. Raya, we must away.
Yes, I know. And he's going to, for the first time, he's going to turn to the other twos.
Hmm?
I will deal with you two later. Until further notice, you are grounded here. Until further notice, you do not go outside the sept. In the meantime, take care of the other cub, and for Gaia's sake, don't let Sina go out.
Dear Raya, you know the burden you place upon us when you ask us to restrict her movements.
Well, I'm thinking that since you are so very good at sneaking into the night, one might know exactly how she does. And with that, Kotori nods and adds, "Oh, and take care of your new sister. And with that, he just retreats.
Mic'd up.
Olaf leaves with him.
And only once the two of them are completely out of sight will Maeve finally roll back over.
Wait, what did they say? Sneaking into the night? Oh god. Oh god, no!
Paw shove.
He goes ahead and shoves you back. You notice Luke has been quite distracted all throughout Olaf's recitation of litany.
What's wrong with you?
Like, goes ahead and, like, throws his face in the dirt a little bit. Nothing. It's nothing in my eye.
Shove, shove. What's wrong?
Goes ahead and buries his face more into the dirt and walks towards the underbrush again.
Both of you were awfully quiet during that.
Well, and she had roused up to follow Lucas, but she'll pause and plop down again to explain. Look, Katori looks weird on this side, but he's very good to us. He is a very good den father, and he's taking care of us. And what we did made him very worried about us, and he's angry. And we're sorry. And, well, that's the first time he's talked to me in the last day or two at all. So, yeah. It just seemed better to not say anything, considering he just walked away from me the last time.
Why does his opinion matter so much to you?
He's like our father. I mean, I still have my dad. I still have him back home, but I can't go back there, and here he is like a father to us. He takes care of us, and he teaches us. And he has always been kind, always been kind of like a ragabash. He's very fun, normally. But he's disappointed in us, and it's hard. It's rough. We want him to approve of what we do. We want him to be proud of the things we've accomplished.
Wrestle, 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 wrestle.
She's gonna sort of nod absently at Maeve, not really getting what you're saying.
It'll make more sense once you've had a chance to spend more time with him, but he is a very kind man, and he has an incredible tolerance for our silly shit. So, about time he starts getting upset. We know it's not because we did something that, wasn't a big deal, but because we did something that made him worry about us. He's reconsidering teaching me how to summon the spirits because he's worried that I will do something foolish.
I mean, it's
You
cool, I
ain't no
guess,
Wendigo.
that, well, not cool, but it seems nice that you are so happy to have a father figure and you feel that's really important, but I don't have one, haven't needed one, seem to get on fine by myself, thanks.
Well, then you are a stronger person than I am, because I have always lived with my parents and I miss them terribly, and Katori is a lot like family to me. Lucas is a lot like family to me, actually.
Wrestle, wrestle.
Sets her ears back a little bit. She's listening. They're kind of pitching and swiveling.
It's
kinda
those kind of
glances-
whines that a wolf will make that doesn't really end in a howl or even in a bark.
She'll kind of glance over her shoulder and be like, are you okay?
What's up with him?
Shrug. She'll finally turn around and trot after him.
Mm-hmm.
Start nosing around the bushes.
Nose, 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 nose. You find the snout of Lucas.
She'll lick his muzzle. Stop being weird.
Trying. This isn't about Katori Raya. This is about something else.
Okay. You're gonna tell me later.
If you guys need some time, I guess I can just go. I don't want to, intrude.
She'll trot back out. No, we have plenty of time to talk among ourselves. Besides, it's important to teach you all the everything. And it's important that you feel like you have family here. So, I will be your sister. Little proud sit, like puff up sit. But if you're tired out, we can take you back.
Not tired, but I just don't know. Like, this has definitely been a better evening than last evening, but it's still a lot to take in, if you know.
Was that enough crazy for one day?
We'll go with that. Crazy. Yeah, I think I just need to think through some of this. Maybe let it sink in.
Noddle. Well, I mean, you can travel the park freely as you like. There's the cabin, you know where it is. You can see the castle from here, if you want to go there, ever. Travis is very nice, he won't mind you coming in. There's a library there, there's a bar there. There's, she kind of glances around. The Red Bones is over in that direction, points with her nose, and that's a restaurant. It's very good, actually. So, you can go wherever you like. If you want to mull over some food, you can. If you just want to go back to the cabin, you can. You can do whatever.
If Lucas is alright with me just going back to his cabin, I might have a walk and try and sort through things in my head.
Noddle.
Go look through the almanacs. They got wonderful descriptions of the constellations.
He looks at him bemused, but sort of just nods.
And if you want, I brought some books back from the Fianna Castle. I mean, you do have a symbol of stag points. So that might be interesting to you. Most of it sounds like just fairy tales, but once you realize that fairies are real, they seem to be a lot more interesting.
She sort of looks at the stag symbol, or tries to look at it of the reflection. But I might try and do that.
We'll come back and check on you. I'll bring you some dinner.
I don't mean to be a bit paid, but seeing as it hasn't gone so well before, can I get out of here?
Mm-hmm. Here, I'll sidestep first to catch you. And since they are in the Northern Woods, she'll just do it in Lupus. And whoom, back into reality.
Boom. Lucas does not follow you.
So she then will step through. I think she feels probably a bit more confident this time and will just take her time and go through and won't worry about it.
And she'll be met by a big doggy grin. See? Easy peasy.
Yeah, not quite at the point where I'm gonna go easy peasy with this, but definitely moving towards the less utterly bone-freezingly terrifying.
Progress. I'll take it.
Little baby steps towards accepting the crazy.
Noddle. Alright, well, if you want to walk back and think about stuff, go ahead, and I'll come by later with dinner.
That sounds good. As she turns away, she's sort of waving absent-mindedly and see you guys later, and clearly quite in thought, mulling over things.
Alright. And Maeve will wag her tail a bit, but remain and let her wander off. and look around to see if Lucas is hopping across or not.
Nope.
Well then. Only once Talia is out of sight towards the cabins will she go ahead and sidestep back.
Fair enough. You see the situation much as it once was.
And she'll go trotting back into the brush.
Oh, he's still there.
And she'll not so much pounce as just kind of blow a bull into him and blah across him.
Blah.
Kind of drape herself on him like blah.
What's up?
I don't know. What's up? Tell me a thing.
I'll try to tell you a thing. Shit. You've heard that first part of the litany like 100 times over now. I mean, you've heard it from Olaf's mouth at least twice now. I know that much.
Yep.
Did you ever really think about it? Like, really, really hard?
Well, the first time I did, yeah.
And this time?
I didn't really dwell on it. I mean, I understand.
Did you listen to Olaf's explanations of the laws?
Yeah.
What do you remember about the first law, his explanation, the reason for it?
I'm pretty sure the first time he showed me a clip from Aliens. It was pretty special.
The fuck?
Yeah, there's this crazy little alien and it comes bursting out of your stomach and tears you apart.
You're trying to make this funny.
No, he did. He told me. I mean, he showed me
Right.
to
Farm
show
Girl.
me how bad it is.
We gotta watch that movie sometime.
Okay.
Worse than that.
He told me that he had a friend who was a metis, a good friend who was born in his deformity. The thing that was wrong with him is that he had more teeth than his mouth could hold.
Hmm.
And one day they got drunk and decided to pull out the extras and they just grew back. But that he suffered all the time because it caused him pain to have that many teeth just piled into his mouth so that he couldn't close it properly.
Mm-hmm. I never really thought too hard into that. Especially the way that he phrased it, like it was a sin against innocent life. The worst sin, apparently, that you can make to an innocent life. Don't think I really understood that until like when he was like talking about it again, and I talked to one of my tribe mates about it.
And it's a brow. She'll finally flop off of him and just sit there next to him.
He just goes ahead and tries to sit up.
So what did you talk about?
A lot of things. I knew her physical deformity. I knew about that one. She's never going to play one of our games. At least none in front of people. Don't make that an issue for her, okay?
Okay.
Don't ask her to shapeshift either. She'll do it on her own if she really wants to, okay?
Okay. Blink.
It's like really fucking quiet right now. She carries that with her all the time. And she closes herself off. And she makes sure that everybody is taken care of. Make sure to keep herself all wrapped up tightly. And I didn't realize the extent of that wrapping up, that conservatism to her. Until a few days ago, until, Olaf went ahead and recited that first verse to me again.
Head tilt.
She wants everybody to be warm and comfortable, to have everything they wanted, to feel comfortable in their own skin, to be able to interact with the greater world fantastically. Doesn't like people to draw themselves down. And I'm starting to think that's... There's no good way to explain this. And that's her story to tell. She told me a little bit about it. And I never realized how much she did suffer. Until just now.
She'll kind of nose it as rough a bit.
She's good. Good through and through.
Isn't that what's important?
I just feel guilty that I didn't see it before, or I took it for granted.
Well, now you know. And in the meantime, it's not like you've done that to someone.
No. I'm in the mood. I'm probably just hungry. I took it for granted. That's the thing. I took it for granted.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that you haven't lived, so you can't know. There's a lot of things I took for granted before I came here and knew any better. There's a lot of things I took for granted even in the first couple days. If you don't know, you don't know. You haven't grown up with whatever she has. So you have no way of knowing that.
That's right. He goes ahead and starts to stand up on his 4 legs. That's right.
And now you do. And you care, which is important, is that once you do know, you take it seriously and you care about it.
Cool. Awesome. You notice that he's starting to pace around in his lupus form just a tiny bit around you. Seems anxious. Less depressed. Less sad. More anxious.
She'll go ahead and shuffle up to all fours. So, food?
Hunting?
Yeah, if you want.
Dash.
Chase, chase, chase.
Unless we want to do something else.
Nope. Well, alrighty then. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, Creeper, for creeping. I see you there. We will see you next time on another episode of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.